I'm connecting with some of you here. I have a fancy new countdown timer, so hopefully this is going to help people find me. We're not starting until 7 minutes and 39 seconds from now. But if you're here and you just want to say hello, I would love to get the feedback that I am actually live, and maybe tell me where you are, if you're on Facebook, in my group, or public profile. I'd love to know, or if you're on YouTube. Facebook is being kind of strange lately, and I'm not really sure that everybody's getting the notification at the right time. So I also wanted to just show up early and make sure that's straightened out for people if you happen to find me live. And the other thing is that I sent out an email recently, actually, I guess it was early this morning, that gave the wrong time. So that was my fault. And then hopefully people have received the correction. And so I'm just here and would love to chat with anybody who's here while we wait for 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm actually usually in Ohio. My usual time zone is Eastern time zone in Ohio, in the Midwest United States. But right now I'm visiting. I'm in Oregon here for a month or so, going back in December, so I'm on Pacific time. But that kind of messes up my schedule. It takes a little getting used to with 3-hour time difference. But I'm going to hop over to Facebook and see if this is actually, working. Looks like maybe it's working. If you're seeing me, please let me know. Just say, "Hi, Jennifer." Put it in the comments and say, "Yes, I see you." I'm going to hop onto my phone and maybe see if this is showing up here on my phone as we hang out here, waiting to start officially. Oh, good. There it is. It's working. Hallelujah. All right, great. Maybe I should like my own video or something. Okay, I'm gonna check if it's in my Facebook group, see if it's working over there as well. Oh, this is another reason to do this tree thing. Hello. Someone writing in Arabic. Hello, Mohammed Hassan, welcome. Very glad you're here. And I'm just getting set up and ready. We're starting officially in about 4 minutes and 44 seconds. So I have never done it this way where I show up a little early, but I'm trying this out to make sure everything is set up. Sometimes the Facebook and YouTube links, like the live videos, don't work the way I want them to, but it looks like everything's working right now. Actually, Mohammed, if you could let me know, are you actually on Facebook or on YouTube? I can't really tell, but if you could let me know, I'd really appreciate it, because I can't tell from here if I'm on Facebook, although I can go over to my phone and here to see if it's working on Facebook. Yes, and I am showing up live on Facebook on my public profile as well as my Facebook group. So I know that's working. And then Mohammed, if you're on YouTube and you want to let me know, that would be so nice. But I'm not going to be giving much content until we get started in 3 minutes or so. So if you want to hang out. Oh, you're on YouTube. Fantastic. Thank you so much for telling me. Good. So it looks like we're all set. And hopefully my sound is working fine. And I think the picture's okay. We're good. So Mohammed, are you a musician? Did you just happen to find me as you were scrolling around on YouTube? I always am curious to know how people stumble on my videos. So if anybody else is watching on Facebook, by the way, I would love to know. You can just say hi. I like to have these videos interactive. And, if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, you can always Subscribe if you like it. You might want to wait for the video itself to see if you actually like it. This is your first one with me. But yeah, you can share this video. I'm really looking forward to the topic. It's about how to practice more with less effort. And I'm also going to be sharing a little bit about the work that I do as a violinist and coach for musicians, and Alexander technique teacher as well. Oh, great. Yes, you're a violinist. I just saw your comment. I think there's always a bit of a lag here, so if I don't respond right away, it's because it might take 10 seconds or so. But you're a violinist. Wonderful. Well, you know that I am also. So where are you located? Are you in the Middle East or somewhere? The only Arabic country, well, I guess I can't really say Arabic country, but the only country over there that I've been to is Turkey. And actually, I've been to Morocco also. So those are the two Arabic-speaking countries that I've been to, and absolutely loved both of them. I've also been to India, went to Agra, for example, and done some traveling. And I would love to go more to the Middle East. I've wanted to go to Egypt forever. So someday maybe, after the pandemic and when things are back to more or less normal, maybe I will be able to visit Egypt. So it looks like we still have a minute and a half. Slovakia, wow. Okay, wonderful. I've never been there either. So I wonder if my count time timer is off. Well, it looks like it's close enough. You are Egyptian. Oh, I was just talking about going to Egypt. So perfect. Someday I will get myself to Egypt, I'm sure. Even as a child, I was really, really fascinated by both Egypt and Saudi Arabia. I don't know why. Those two countries just popped out. I'm not so sure I want to go to Saudi Arabia, but Egypt, I would love to go there. You're in Slovakia now. Yeah, wonderful. Been to Europe many times, as I am Swiss. I'm American and Swiss. My mother is Swiss. Yeah, my dad's American. So if you're just coming on, hello, welcome. I haven't actually started our official topic yet, but I decided to come on early today just to make sure everything was working, everything's set up. And if there's anybody coming in on Facebook, I would just love it if you would say hello. If there's anybody else on YouTube, you want to say hi. But Mohammed, thank you so much for letting me know that that's working. It's nice to have a little chat too while we're waiting. So we're about to get started. Yeah, this topic, really excited about it. So, hello everybody, I'm so glad to have you here. In this video, I am going to be talking about what I truly, truly believe with my whole self, the secret to practicing more with less effort. So if we haven't met yet, just really briefly, I am Jennifer Roig-Francolí. I'm the creator of The Art of Freedom for Conscious Living and Masterful Artistry. I am a professional violinist and a certified Alexander technique teacher. And I am also specializing in hands-free Primal Alexander, which I've been training in for more than 6 years now. So that's with Mio Morales. It is back to the origins, the pure Alexander technique way back when Alexander was helping himself overcome performance issues and solving his vocal problems, overcoming all kinds of stuff. And he wasn't using his hands, he used his thinking to make changes in his body and his life, and then started teaching that. That's the origin of the Alexander technique. And I've been teaching exclusively online since 2018 because not using my hands works so well to help musicians. I help musicians mostly who have pain, performance anxiety, excess tension when they play, or stress, all kinds of things, mental and physical blockages to making the best music possible. One thing that always comes up with musicians is this idea that we need to be practicing more, right? If you're out there and you have that belief that you don't practice enough, or you don't practice well enough, or you should be practicing more, I would love to get your feedback if you just want to type in yes, so that other people know that they're not alone and you can all relate to each other. So I welcome you to this live video now. And even if you're watching the replay though, I always go back and check the comments. So if you have questions or feedback, I would encourage you to just get engaged and just throw the comments in there so that we can make it really interactive. There's a bit of a lag, so I can't address all the comments right away, but I do go back and forth and check the comments. So please just throw in your opinions, your ideas, and your experience, and then we can have more of a contact that way. So here's a Facebook user, and I apologize, I can't always see the name of Facebook users. I can see the names of YouTube people and some Facebook users, but the software program I'm using asks you to accept to have your name shown, and so I may just have to say Facebook user unless you tell me what your name is, or you click the button somewhere that gives permission. But here is a Facebook user, hello Facebook user, that says, or maybe you practice a lot but feel like you make little progress. Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today, where you practice a lot or you feel like you don't practice enough, but either way, you feel like you're not progressing as much as you would like to, and you're just not getting where you want to go. Now, I work with a lot of professional musicians, and something that they're always telling me about also is just not having enough time. So, if you're a professional and you play in an orchestra, or these days with the pandemic, things are a little different, although in many places things are starting to get back to normal and we're having live performances again, which is great. Isn't it fantastic that at least in some parts of the world, things are starting to feel a little more normal for musicians? I'm very happy about that. But one way or another, during the pandemic or not, it's really easy to feel like you don't have enough time, right? But especially when you have live performances, maybe you're in an orchestra, you're in a band, or you have family obligations and you have other things that are clamoring for your attention. Do you ever feel like you just don't have enough time and you have maybe so much repertoire? Maybe you're a student and there's just a lot of repertoire that you need to get through, solo repertoire, orchestral repertoire, chamber music repertoire. And how in the world can you learn all those things as well as you want to when you feel like you don't have enough time? And then even if you do have a lot of time, you have so much to fit into your time that it still feels like you don't have time, right? It feels like you can't really do the pieces justice because there's so much that you need to do and not enough time. That doesn't feel good, right? Can anybody relate with this? I should have my glasses on because I can't read the comments. I just need them for reading and driving, and the rest of my life I don't have to wear glasses. But a lot of interruptions maybe on your end. I am not seeing that I'm having an internet problem, so hopefully it's not on my end, but I'm sorry that's happening for you. If anybody else is having issues, please let me know if I need to do something, but looks like my internet is strong and I think I'm okay on this side. So anyway, there's this belief. This is my point. We have this belief that we need to do a lot of practicing with our instruments, and we also have this sense that we don't have enough time. And when those things go together, what does it feel like? Well, it usually feels really frustrating, and there can be this gnawing sense like of underlying anxiety and even guilt. Sometimes we're just lazy, right? We don't practice enough and we feel like we should be practicing more, right? A lot of musicians feel guilt over not practicing enough. And this desire that you want to be just playing for fun. You want to be able to practice and run through the pieces that you enjoy. You want to have a good time when you're practicing, but if you have a lot of repertoire, you have a lot of external imposed obligations, you may not allow yourself the time to just enjoy playing what you want to play. And you forget also that playing an instrument has the word play in it. And when we have all those obligations, we get caught up in the I have to, or I need to, or I shoulds, right? Rather than I get to, I'm excited to, I am free to play and have fun. And that's not to say that all the time that you have with your instrument needs to just be playing and fooling around, because obviously you're not going to, learn the repertoire that you need to if you do that. But it's important to have a really healthy balance, and otherwise you can end up resenting that you have all those external obligations and all that repertoire to go through. So you really don't want to get there. Don't want to get into feeling resentment for the time that you're spending practicing. You don't want to resent that you don't have enough time. And you don't want to be frustrated because you're not making the progress that you're making. Because all those things are very stressful. They lead to anxiety in your whole system. Even if you don't quite realize it, it's kind of very often under the surface, and it affects your well-being, your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Because if this goes on for very long, there are a lot of musicians who suffer from a lot of anxiety and depression, so you may end up with mood swings, mood challenges that you need to deal with, in part related to this issue that we're talking about. And you can start to feel bad about yourself and feel like you're never going to be good enough because you can't practice enough. You may not feel like you're prepared enough when you go to your rehearsals or your concerts, and then you can start suffering from some imposter syndrome. I keep hearing this from the musicians I work with, that imposter syndrome is a big deal, and it comes up a lot. Usually it kind of is tied in your brain with this idea of not practicing enough. And then you can feel like less than, right? And if you go into a performance feeling less prepared than you feel like you should be, or into an audition and you feel like, oh, I should have prepared more, I should have practiced more, I'm not really ready, and then you do it again, you're much more likely to suffer from performance anxiety. It's important to be prepared for auditions, but even more than that, it's important to be psychophysically prepared. And it's not necessarily about practicing more in a quantitative sense with your instrument, but I'm going to be getting to that in a moment. But anyway, what happens is that there's this vicious cycle where if all these things pile up on each other, then you go into a performance and it's less than stellar because of all the things I mentioned. Well, then what do you draw? What's the conclusion that you draw from that less than stellar performance? Well, you might feel like you should have practiced more, right? You might think, well, I didn't practice enough and I need to practice more next time. I need to be better prepared next time. So can you relate to that? Does that whole sequence of events ring true to anybody? I would love to get your feedback. So just put a yes in the comments, or just if you have a story about when this happened to you, or what is your daily life like, and how do you practice? So the whole point here, the baseline here that I wanted to present, is that we have this belief that practicing more is going to solve all of those problems, right? Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer Bailey says, yes, time for self-recrimination, right? Yeah, and then we beat ourselves up because, oh, you should have been different. You should have practiced more. You should have done X, Y, Z, and then it would have gone better. The performance would have gone better, or you would have won the audition if you had only practiced more. It's like this refrain that is running, this program that's running in the back of musicians' minds. Practice more, practice more, practice more. Okay, so I am here to tell you that it's not exactly like that. In fact, we base all of this on a faulty premise and the faulty belief that you need to practice more and there's not enough time. So, yes, of course, when you practice more, you are building up more neural connections. You can improve your skills. And yes, you will progress faster and you will become a better musician if you practice more. But the big caveat and the big question is, what to practice. What do you want to practice more of? What do you need to practice more of? And how do you need to practice in order to get those results that you want? We don't qualify this belief. We don't actually think about it. It's been hammered into us by society, by educators, by the people close to us. Practice more, practice more, practice more, practice more. But nobody talks about what to practice or how to practice. It's just pure recommendation of quantity. People aren't talking nearly as much about quality of practice. But even the people who talk about quality of practice, they are always talking about the time you spend with your instrument. Now, here, this video is about, I've said, it's the secret to practicing more with less effort. So this is a totally revolutionary idea for most people when I start talking about this. But this is the key. This is the secret. You need to realize that practicing your primary instrument, your mind, body, self, practicing the neural connections of how to think and move skillfully in a very well coordinated manner, that is what needs to be practiced more. And you need to know how to practice that well. You need to become very skillful in organizing your thoughts and connecting your brain, your mind, your thoughts. Your brain's already connected, but you need to know how to use it. You need to get really good at connecting your thoughts with your body so that you can be occupied with the thoughts, creating what you want up here, then getting out of the way to let your ideas, musical and otherwise, to pass through this body and out your instrument with the least amount of interference of negative, unhelpful, mindless thinking and physical and emotional stress and tension. Okay, so this is the key, really, is to understand that the time you spend with your instrument is important, but it's really so much less important than you think. But you do need to increase the amount of time that you are conscious in how you are living and moving throughout the day. Because truly, when you're practicing being free and, like I said, having organized, clear thoughts, when you know how to prioritize your thoughts and how to use constructive thinking to get unhelpful thoughts out of the way, then you can have a thought and execute it. And you can practice that. I just talked to a coaching client a couple of days ago. It was really fun. She was telling me how excited she is about this process of the Art of Freedom and the Primal Alexander work that we do, because she found herself in the kitchen and she was thinking, oh, I need to hurry up and make dinner and get this on the table and feed my kid and so that I can practice. And she's like, I don't have a lot of time. I need to rush. And she's like chopping the garlic like this. Is like lots of tension and lots of effort, rushing through making dinner so that she can get to her instrument for the last bit of time that she had at night before sleeping. There was limited time. And suddenly, as she's chopping the garlic, she's realizing she's putting so much effort into chopping the garlic and rushing, and she's feeling stressed. So suddenly she had this epiphany where she's like, oh, hold on a second. What am I doing? How am I using myself? Look at how I'm feeling rushed and stressed, and I'm basically practicing how to move with a lot of tension, with a lot of stress, with feeling bad about myself. And not paying attention to what I'm doing, and besides being at the risk of cutting her fingers, and this kind of living is riskier, and you do end up injuring yourself when you push yourself around like this. People do have accidents, they trip, they hurt themselves because they're rushing and they're not really present to their experience. So thankfully she didn't hurt herself, she didn't cut herself, but she did catch herself, and she realized that she was using herself in a way, basically she was practicing, because whatever you do in a repeated manner, your brain builds up a network. She's learning how to live with stress and excess tension without being fully present to what she's doing. Then she had the light bulb moment. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm rushing through this so that I can get to what I really want to do, which is practice my violin. And yet, what I need to practice to get to be a better violinist and to have more skill and better technique, be able to move my fingers more quickly, to be able to think through my practice session and create the musical ideas, what I really need to be able to do is exactly what I need to be able to do when I'm cutting garlic. I have an intention. I get my negative, unhelpful, stressful, critical thinking out of the way, and then my body can relax and release that excess tension. I get an energy flow that allows me to be really in tune with what I'm doing. I'm centered, and I have force to cut the garlic, and it's so effortless to cut the garlic. She slowed down a little bit, and then she told me, you know what? Time expanded a little bit. It felt like I was doing things slower, and because I was so present, and yet I'm sure it took exactly the same amount of time, or maybe I did it even more quickly, but I was actually enjoying cutting the garlic, right? So yes, okay, hello, I'm hopping over to the comments, and I want to say hello to, I'd love to hear from everybody watching. Just say hi, okay? I want to know you're here. Somebody here says, quote, whatever you do, you teach yourself to do it. Yes, this is very helpful. I'm so grateful. Teach, not y'all. Right, yes. Whatever you're doing, you're learning, whether it's for better or for worse. Whatever you repeat, you get better at. So if most of the day you are rushing, you're getting good at rushing. You don't think that all of a sudden you're going to get to your musical instrument and you're not going to be rushing. You're going to be rushing because you've practiced how to rush as a human being, and you bring that human being into your musical practice. If you want to learn how to make music with good timing, good rhythm, without rushing, you need to practice being that way during the day, not rushing around, not stressing, not pushing yourself, You want to learn how to make a sound that is open, free, and responsive and projects without forcing? Be that way during the day. Your sound reflects who you are. So you need to work on who you are all day long. So you're actually practicing all day long, and most people don't know it. So it's not about the amount of time you spend with your musical instrument. You don't need to necessarily increase that amount of time. In fact, most people who are dedicated and passionate and serious about getting better at their instruments, I strongly believe that most people are spending too much time with their instruments. And that's why most people end up playing with way too much tension and too much repetitious, mindless repetition. There's a lot of time that's wasted in the practice room because of not having this skill of mental organization, which connects to physical organization. In fact, you can't separate them. You need, when you are mentally organized, when you're thinking clearly, when you can prioritize your thoughts, when you know what your intentions are in life, you're practicing it all day long, and then you bring it into the practice room, you can be efficient and you can be effective. You need to, if you want to be effective and efficient in your practicing, you need to learn how to be an efficient and effective person. It's really obvious when you think about it this way, but nobody talks about this. We're practicing how to be the musicians we are all day long. So what you think is what you get, and what you focus on, you get more of. If most of the time you're thinking badly about yourself, like you're not good enough and you should be doing something else, you're going to keep thinking that way when you're practicing. That is going to increase the level of muscular tension that you have in your whole system, and you're going to end up with pain, most likely down the road, sooner or later. In fact, what I'm talking about, learning how to practice well in this way, in a mind-body coordinated way, the people who don't know how to do that, most people, end up with excess tension and pain, and they feel bad about themselves. I think most people intuit that they need to have this skillful mind-body awareness and mind-body connection, but they don't know how to improve that because they weren't taught, and the people who taught them probably didn't know how to teach that, so they didn't teach it. Most people don't think about this, but it's a natural way of being that we need to make conscious. Hi, Zamba. Thanks for being here. Zamba wrote here, you're actually practicing and working on yourself all day long. You absolutely are. Glad you like that. Another person here says, a corrected quote update, whatever you do, you are teaching yourself to do it. Thank you. Oh, good, that's Zamba also. Guys, do not teach yourselves tension. Right, excellent. Hi, Tristan. Jennifer's advice is transformational if you give it a chance to change our attitudes. Yes, right. You know, it's really a paradigm shift. It's just a simple thinking. It's a way to think differently, but the problem is that we've been taught all our lives to believe that we need to increase the time we are with the musical instrument without realizing that that's our secondary instrument. And this, the mind-body self, is our primary instrument. So I've talked about how to practice more, but in this video I also promised to teach you or talk about, how to practice more with less effort. Okay. Now that's kind of implied in the things I've been talking about, that you want to practice this instrument all day long with as much consciousness as possible. You can't be conscious all day long. It's human to go back and forth between being unconscious and conscious and mindful and mindless. And we can't beat ourselves up about that because that's just human, right? But the problem is that most of the time we are operating on autopilot. We are operating on past programming, and we're not even thinking about how we're walking, how we're talking, how we're moving our arms or speaking. We learned how to do it, and then we never revisited it. So if you learned how to walk and talk with tension, and most of us did for lots of reasons that I won't go into, and if you learned to look at learning with excess tension and stress, like from school, for example, if you felt stressed about exams, and if you felt stressed about needing to get the right answer, you learned how to learn with excess tension, and then you bring that into everything that you do that you need to learn. And practicing your instrument is all about learning. So you probably put a lot of pressure on yourself to get things right, because that's how you learned how to learn. Get it right, get the right notes, practice the technique. I've had so many people tell me that their teachers wouldn't allow them to make music until they had their technique taken care of. That's horrible advice. Why are you a musician? To make music. You can make music from day one playing open strings. But I am digressing on a totally different topic. But the question about how do you learn, how do you practice, which is learn, how do you learn with less effort? Well, you need to first know how to discern that you actually are bringing more effort than necessary to what you're doing. And that's a paradigm shift, because most people don't even realize that they're doing most of what they're doing with too much effort, too much tension. But I'm going to give you just an idea you can play with. When you go to your instrument next time, get curious. What's the minimum amount of effort that I need to do what I want to do? If I want to play a long note forte, what's the minimum amount of effort I need? If you're chopping garlic, what's the minimum amount of effort I need to do this? If you are walking the dog and you're holding onto a leash, what's the minimum amount of tension or effort that I need? Like I said, what you focus on, you get more of. So if you're focusing all day long on, this is hard, I don't have enough time, I'm bad because I don't practice well. If you're beating yourself up all day, you get better at that. And because you're focusing on it, you get more of it. You get more of that experience. Whereas if you're curious, curiosity is a big key. If you're curious about, well, what am I actually doing? How much tension am I using? How much effort am I bringing to walking the dog? Or, you're doing emails and you're opening up your email. Like, how much effort am I using to respond to these emails? You may not even be aware of all the tension. But if you start asking yourself and wondering and getting curious, then you might notice, oh my gosh, I don't have to do this. I can be here, right? Same goes with your instrumental practice. Ask yourself, how much effort am I using to lift up my instrument? How much effort am I using to draw the bow? How much effort am I using to move my hands back and forth on a keyboard? Just ask the question. And just asking the question and wondering about it and observing yourself is a huge part of solving that problem. But this, how to do things with less effort is my specialty. It's what I teach. It's my specialty and my passion to help musicians recognize that they are bringing too much tension. And once they realize that, teach them exactly how to think differently to get different results. We call it constructive thinking in the Alexander technique world. So you need to learn how, like the specific exact things to do with this part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. How do you use this part of your brain to get the unhelpful, cluttered thinking out of your mind so that then you can clearly formulate the intentions you want and not interfere with the body's natural ability to organize those thoughts and translate them into neuromuscular information that then results in you can carry out exactly what you intend through your body on your instrument. That mind-body awareness and mind-body connection is the key. It is the key, the secret to practicing, to performing, to playing your instrument and doing anything that you do with this instrument with less effort, more ease, more flow, more consciousness, and a heck of a lot more fun. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully this is useful, and I want you to know that I would love for you to reach out to me, private messenger on Facebook, comment on the YouTube video, share the video, subscribe on YouTube to my channel, sign up for my newsletter, go to my website, and ask me. Please email me also. You can email me at jennifer@artoffreedom.me and ask me about my private coaching and group programs for musicians. I work with all kinds of musicians, professionals of any level and also amateurs, people who are dedicated, who are passionate and really, really want to get to the root of undoing unhelpful thought patterns and habits and it's really not hard. I'm talking about these really important ideas, but it's so easy. It is so simple. I can teach you exactly how to start doing it. And I do in my programs. I teach you on day one how to do this. And then it's a matter of practicing what I call awareness etudes from Mio Morales' Primal Alexander hands-free method that I teach. I specialize in that. I teach you on day one how to do it, and then I give you the etudes, the awareness etudes to practice systematically so that you get better and better and better at that because you're practicing this instrument more with less effort. And then when you learn how to move and think with less effort, it's a no-brainer. You get to your musical instrument and everything works better. And listen, I'm like the poster child of a professional musician who doesn't practice. I go for weeks. I've literally gone for about nearly 2 months now, hardly even touching my violin. And yet I'm practicing this instrument every day so that when I've left my instrument for a period of time, every single time I come back to it, I am shocked. I am so surprised at how much easier things are. Like I can play things that I couldn't play a year ago suddenly. And I haven't practiced for 2 months, which is why I can allow myself to be away from my instrument, even though I'm playing the Four Seasons as soloist in June with an orchestra in Pittsburgh. But it's like, I don't mind. I know that I am practicing what's really important, which is learning how to be myself and free myself and connect and align my thoughts with my body and my emotions and just be able to express that. Then I just pick up the instrument and then I can do that. Okay, so hopefully this was useful. I have a new group program starting very soon. So please reach out to me if you're curious and just ask me for the details. And I will, have a little chat with you and see if my program, it's called the Musician's Mind-Body Breakthrough. It's a very powerful and simple program. And you'll get personal attention from me, feedback on your unique situation as a musician. And we'll work together privately and with a group over a period of some weeks. And you'll be just totally blown away by what's possible when you know how to do this work. So please don't hesitate. Reach out to me soon. Registration closes very soon for the next session of the Musician's Mind-Body Breakthrough, and space is limited. So, and there are some really special bonuses this time, so make sure you reach out to me. Oh, hello, Fet. I just saw your comment pop up here. Hey, greetings from Nashville. Thank you so much. Greetings to Nashville. Before I leave, I'm going to hop on and just see the rest of the comments here. The prefrontal cortex, aka the CEO function part of the cerebrum. Yes, I just successfully opened curiosity to the prefrontal cortex. Yes, good. Thank you for giving me this clarity, Maestra Jennifer, Zamba. You're so welcome. I love that you're taking this material and getting curious about it. Jennifer has to go back to class, multitasking. Good, you can watch the rest later. I started to realize this year that all musical intention that I have was accompanied by tension in the back of my neck and across my shoulders. Yes, yes, yes. That's right. That's the way it works. And yes, the neck is so important. We all have this neck tension, but when you can link up the experience you're having in your body with how you're thinking, the solution is in there. The root of the problem is in there. And then the solution, part of the solution is just observing that connection, but then learning how to think constructively in the specific exact ways that I teach you. It's just the fastest, quickest, most amazing way that I know to become super efficient and effective and access flow. Everything that you want to become a better musician is in there, and it's really simple. So if you want to learn, let me know. Sorry, there's another comment here. If you want to learn to be efficient and effective practicing your instrument, you need to learn to be an efficient and effective person first. Yeah, I think I said that. You put it in quotes. Thanks. I'm going to grab that later. I think that's pretty good, right? If you think you are an ineffective person, you will increase your physical tension and pain. Yes, I enjoy these quotes. In the case of the first quote, I do and think the opposite. I practice to be an effective musician in order to be an effective person. Oh, how interesting. Then I unwind at night with mindfulness and online research to be a better person. How misguided do you find this approach, Maestra Jennifer? Well, I think that, you just have it a little backwards, right? You're saying that you practice to be an effective musician in order to be an effective person. I mean, they go together, right? It's not even backwards. You know what? It's the same thing. The problem we have is that we separate these things. It really doesn't matter what your activity is, whether you're sitting in meditation or you're chopping garlic or you're playing the violin. The activity is not that important. What does matter is how you are being, how you're thinking to get the results that you want. And yes, we meditate to become a better person, right? You do charity and volunteer work to become a better person. and then you practice, right? Why separate? I love how you said, I practice to become a better person. Yeah, but that's no different from anything else. Why not do what you do to just be the person that you are and enjoy who you are and focus on all the good things that are already there. You're already a better person. You're already a good person. And the more you focus on that, the more you will get that result. And the more experience of being a good person you'll get, and the more you'll be able to shine that out, and the more other people will be able to see it. So, but thinking about these things, this is great. I love it, Zamba. It's wonderful that you asked that. I hope that helps. So, yes, and Annie is here. Hello, Annie. Thank you, Jennifer, for your caring attitude and helpful voice. You're so welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you, everybody. If you're watching the replay, please, your comments and questions are just as valuable. And again, message me, everybody, if you're curious, if you're even the least bit curious about what the Musician's Mind-Body Breakthrough program would look like for you, how could it help you? See if it's the right program for you. Don't let anything stop you. Just reach out to me, message me, email me, contact me. There are lots of ways to find me online. Great. So the order I do things matters not, as long as I do not separate the activities like I do. Yeah, just be yourself no matter what you do. Okay, lots of love to everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.